All right, we are good.
All right.
I'm Brad Power, Director of Community Development.
Kevin Ingles, Director of Finance.
Debbie Severa, Executive Assistant.
Tim Dodd, Deputy City Manager.
Christine Underhill, Director of Parks, Rec, Library, and Golf.
Chris Hargeth, Communications Director.
Sarah Stant, Recreation Manager.
Tamara Niles, City Attorney.
Brad Anderson, Deputy Director of Parks and Recreation. Adrian Torres, Open Space Manager. Chris Davison, Aquatics Manager.
Andrea Moeller, Visual Communication Specialist.
Thank you, Jenna.
Yeah, I'm Jenna Biondolillo. I'm Vice Chair of the Parks and Rec Commission.
Amanda.
Amanda Arns, Communication Strategist in the Communications Department.
Tracy.
Tracy Matlock, Finance Accounting Supervisor.
And Lex.
Lex Rogers, Graphic Designer in the Communications Department.
Awesome, thank you very much. All right, so our project manager, we had a lot of great applicants. We did notice a lot of federal employees applying for this position with a pretty decent backgrounds. A lot of applicants were actually in the software field side, so they didn't quite fit what we were looking for on the construction side. So we have 6 candidates, all with pretty well diverse backgrounds. We're interviewing on Monday. The interviews will be all day long on the 31st. We're really hoping to get this individual on board probably by the 21st. And I believe the next meeting we'll talk about at the end will be April 27th. So the hope is our project manager can start to be part of these meetings. But ultimately, the project manager is going to oversee the day-to-day management of all things bond related, since most of us in this room have already day-to-day things going on that we aren't stopping for this, and we want to make sure it's thoroughly overseen and we get what we're really looking for out of the dollars that our residents have given us. That's a project manager.
How long will the project manager be on?
That's a good question. So it's been posted for 3 years, 3 years max, or 3 years with the potential of extending up to 5 years, depending on how the projects are going. We do have to spend 85% of the funds by the end of year 3. And so there might be some leftover items that may go on year 4 and 5, but our goal is to be done probably by year 3 or very close to finishing within year 4. And then also Victor Rochelle, Director of Public Works, just joined us as well. This is the current timeline. It's very basic because not all projects are ready to go just yet. And I'll go over each of the projects and where the status is. And Adrian and Brad can help me out with that. But the bond sale is happening at the end of April. And then we actually are ready to go into construction at Cushing Park. So we hope to kick that off soon here, possibly May to December. We'd like to get that one done before the end of the year. Both Rotolo and Emerson are in the design phase currently. They're very close to being at 100%. So once those come in, we'll go out to bid for Rotolo and Emerson construction and get those underway. Hopefully that will happen. We'll hit construction probably mid to late summer, early fall with those 2 parks. And then May through December of 25 is the design process for the Recreation Center, Pirates Cove, Bard, Bellevue, Clarkson, Millerfield, and Northwest Greenbelt. So we're underway already. We just haven't put the shovel in the ground yet to start the renovations just yet. Design process typically takes 6 to 8 months. It could take longer depending on the facility and the types of studies and work that has to be done for each of those facilities or parks. We know Bellevue Park is going to be a thorough process because we are in the FEMA floodplain, so that's going to take a little bit longer. And then our goal is to be under construction with hopefully most of these projects, both the Rec Center and Pirates Cove. We're going to be cognizant of their seasons, especially the Pirates Cove. We don't want to lose the revenue for the city, and we don't want to have people miss out on that park during the summer months. So that'll go into construction most likely in September of 26 or September of 27, and be ready to go by opening day in May of 28. So just an overview of the bond we have. It's $41.5 million. We have 2 facilities and 8 parks we'll be addressing with the funds. Total park projects are receiving $22 million, and these are all the parks and the dollar amounts that they'll be receiving. Irrigation is going to be addressed, hopefully at all of these parks for the most part. And if we're able to have extra funds, we'll address some of the parks that aren't necessarily in the bond. if we have extra funding of that 3 million. Surprisingly, irrigation is not cheap. It's kind of expensive to install new systems, but ultimately we'll be more efficient in the long run with our water use. And then our two facilities, the Recreation Center and Pirates Cove, and I'll go over each of these, and there's 14 million total for those two projects. This is a map we've been using for a while, but it does show how we've addressed parks in the past, and the red squares are what we're addressing here in the future. So every part of our city is touched by these funds and will receive improvements. So if residents are concerned that they don't live in an area that's having a renovation, they actually are in one of the areas, one of the districts that has improvements coming their way. Our goals are addressing sustainability, improving our neighborhoods. We want people to come out and use our parks. We do know they come out and use them. They love them to death sometimes, and our parks crews have to take care of that. But we want to make sure that they're going to be here for a long time for our future residents, and making improvements that make those parks more attractive. And people wanting to live in those neighborhoods only increases our economic vitality and improves our city overall. Also efficiency, less maintenance is something that is one of our goals. We will be putting in some different types of landscaping that don't require as much maintenance over time. Also, ADA is extremely important to us. We have many parks that are not ADA compliant. We want everybody in our city and beyond to be able to enjoy each of our parks and facilities. Also, revenue generation is important for the city to keep our facilities relevant and our parks relevant. So bringing in amenities that could do that is our goal. And then activation, less use. We have quite a few parks that are just passive parks that maybe don't get the kind of use that they could. So like Clarkson Park, we're installing a pathway and a community garden. Right now it's just green space with a bench and that's it. So we really want to get people into our parks and utilizing them, and then also finding ways to bring in teens and teen programming into our parks and facilities. Bard Park is currently, we have a designer picked for this. They have not kicked it off. Once the bond sale happens, all designs will get going. We have $700,000 for this park. One of the big pieces in this park we'd like to replace is the bridge that crosses over to Charles Hay World School and then back into the neighborhood. It's not ADA compliant. It's a little difficult to get over if you were in a wheelchair or had a walker or anything like that, as well as pathways connecting the main streets, a nature playground, some benches, and some landscaping improvements here at this park. Clarkson, same thing. We've got a design team ready to go to start designing this park, but adding in a little nature type playground, a community garden, which we know we need. Debbie just finished doing our current garden that's over by Cushing Park, and we have a wait list and a lot of need out there. People want to participate in our community gardens. So adding more into the system, I believe, will be used and loved. And then we've got Cushing Park. Like I said, it's construction ready. This is an updated schematic for this park. We'll be adding a small and large dog park. It's over 20,000 square feet total with some play amenities going in. It will be fully fenced. And then we'll also be replacing the old playground out there with a very nice new playground. We are playing on the theme of the Gold Rush, and we'll be painting some boulders gold out there to latch onto that. And we have $600,000. The construction came back at $617,000, so it was pretty darn close. The design team for this park did a good job keeping it pretty close to budget.
Christina, is that currently a dog park?
No, it's just open space. It's something that was called out as a potential dog park in our master plan that was done in 2017. It was approved by council to add a dog park here. So through the off-leash task force and all those meetings, council decided to not move forward with the dog park here, even though it was approved. But it's definitely something the community wants. As you know, across the street from Cushing, we have all those new condos coming in. There's a lot of residents there. We see a lot of dogs at Cushing Park on a daily basis. So a dog park is much needed. We're also talking with Public Works of maybe adding a signal here, like a hawk signal, to notify when people are crossing the street. The last thing we want to do is have somebody hit with their dog or a biker. That's kind of a curve that, I mean, I've even started to take that turn and there's somebody starting to cross. So something to make that a little bit safer since we know it's going to be heavily used area. Emerson Park, this has been in design for a little while now. It's a contentious park, the neighborhood, some people don't want us to touch it and some really want to see some change here. And so we have some exciting amenities coming into this park. Once we're at 100% construction ready, we'll provide a schematic that shows what this park's going to look like. It looks nothing like the drawing you see there. It's really exciting what's coming in. I think the neighbors will like it. It really plays on nature and habitats, like pollinator habitats. Shade spaces, pathways, play areas. And so we have $600,000 for this. And again, this one should be under construction this year. Miller Field, I think we're all very, very excited about this one. This park does not get used much other than sports or off-leash dogs running around or kids playing in the field. So activating this park with a playground area, a splash pad, a nice pavilion that we could do some concerts out there, a nice place for movie nights, performances, whatever it may be. We are keeping 2 of the fields there because we are short on fields in our city because we're landlocked and we really don't have any more places to put fields of this size. And so Miller Field will keep that, updating all the landscaping, putting pathways through from north to south. And we're in that top left corner, that is currently the parking lot across from the police station. And so that will be converted into the play area for a splash pad, restroom area and all of that. We are keeping the Miller Field sign that's original to this park as a historic piece. And all the parking is actually going to go on to the street with parallel spaces for this. So it's going to change the use of this park quite significantly. But we know these neighbors, we've heard from many of them, they want to see change, but want to preserve the history of this space too. So here's just a few pictures. Again, these are going to change once the design teams take them. They'll blow these up. They like the concepts, but they'll make them theirs. And through public meetings and surveys, we'll be able to get additional feedback from those neighbors to find out exactly what they want, what they're happy with, what they're excited about. And so keep that in mind. If you have residents that talk to you or reach out, what they've seen in the past is nothing like what they'll see once it's implemented. It may be close, but it'll be probably quite different. And this is looking from the east to west at the park. And again, it doesn't look anything like this if you drive by it now. Even the pathway around the sidewalk and the landscaping, it doesn't exist like you see it here. Northwest Greenbelt's another one. This is an off-leash area for us in the park system. And so we have almost $1 million to move forward with it, but updating the playground area, picnic table, some drought-tolerant plants. It is kind of a difficult area for our park crews to mow at times. And so this park will get some upgrades. This is examples. So putting some picnic areas, a restroom. We know this is a regional trail area and a lot of people use it to commute. So having a restroom at this park would be pretty important. We do consider this a neighborhood park. But ultimately, we know a lot of people, it meets up with Denver's Trail, will utilize a restroom there. And then Rotolo has been a hot topic throughout last year regarding some of the changes in adding native plantings in here. But our design team was awesome on this project and really listened to the community and came up with some drawings that there was a lot of buy-in to at our public meeting. From some of the individuals that weren't happy about what we were going to do to Rotolo. We're preserving the sledding hill that was extremely popular. We're adding in native type plants or drought tolerant plants near the playground area and also nature play. So it's going to be interactive. There was concern about, will kids just trample this area down? And we're actually integrating trail system throughout the native plants and some nature play as well. And there's a new restroom coming in. We're actually doing a design for that versus just ordering our standard restrooms where they bring them in a crane and drop them into place and hook up the plumbing and turn them on. This one's actually going to be designed for this park, and the design team we're working with that. We'll keep it within budget, and it'll be different than what you typically see in our park system, but much more inviting.
Will the turf area remain?
The multi-use field that's at the base,
Yeah.
that'll stay as well. Yep. And then Bellevue's a big one. Like I mentioned, the farm is in the FEMA floodplain currently. We found that out last March, and that kind of changed everything with this park. When we originally did this kind of mock-up plan, we didn't know it was in the FEMA floodplain, and that means we've got to move it out. We can't make any modifications to the current farm. If we do, we're not in compliance. So we want to preserve the farm. It's historic to this city. It's important to our residents. It's important to our staff. And so we're working with the design team to find a different location, but relevant to the train area. So they'll be looking at the parking lot and some other places nearby that farm could potentially move, but still be connected to the train too. And if we ever had a flood, Parks is ready to get the train out of that area and keep it safe. So we're not as concerned. We had a plan last summer too, if a flood was coming, a way to get the animals out and get everybody safe. So a lot of changes here. We're getting new ball field lights, which is wonderful. Those are very old halogen lights. They take forever to turn on. They're not, efficient whatsoever. And the new LED lighting system is great at lighting just the field and nothing else. So the homeowners that across the street will probably be happy that their, living rooms aren't bright during softball league nights or whatever. Pathway improvements, giving access to Big Dry Creek. So if you normally couldn't access that because you're in a wheelchair, right now you could try to get down there, but you might end up rolling into the creek. We're going to put some concrete platforms so you can easily get down and experience what everybody else gets to experience at the creek. And there's going to be some improvements to the tennis courts and overall landscaping. Either am I forgetting anything else that we've talked about here? Like irrigation improvements.
I can't think of anything.
And this is a park we're looking at adding pickleball courts, not part of the bond, but we have some monies in open space. That's a project Adrian's been working on the side. It's a perfect location for pickleball courts because it'll be up towards the top corner there, out away from homes and all of that. So it'll be another enhancement for this park. There's just some conceptual plans. Initially, we were going to be putting restrooms and a large pavilion next to the farm, but all of that's going to change due to the fact all that has to come up and be out of the floodplain. And then the Inglewood Recreation Center, we're going to be adding pickleball courts, which we know will be very popular. It's also another way to generate revenue. We'll put them in back of the recreation center on the outside, which backs up to Meadow Gold. We should have no issues with anyone complaining about the sound. Along with the pavilion nearby, this area will get fenced off. And so that way we can control access to the courts. Updating the locker rooms, landscaping, adding a spa. We are also maybe going to be able to add like a cold plunge pool. We'll see what the prices come in at, and then also improving the deck and getting a new slide for the pool itself. And then the RFP for design is out for Pirates Cove. It's due this week, I believe, to procurement. And then we'll find out who's going to be designing the changes to Pirates Cove. But taking out the large pool on the east side of the park and replacing it with that slide type system that you see right there in the picture, that people will sit in tubes to go down. Less water will be used, less staff needed for something like this. And then we're adding 3-lane deep water pool.
3 lanes, yes.
Yeah. As well, that was one of the loud feedbacks we heard through the public process is our deep water class participants have been doing it for many years and they don't want to lose that. And in fact, one of our former council members was one of those people that wanted to not lose his class. So, and then also just a lounge pool. We noticed it happens every year, as Brad's experienced and Chris, that everybody hangs out the shallow end. And so having a lounge pool, I think, will make Pirates Cove attractive. And then additional pavilions for rent too.
A wave pool?
That'll be the next bond.
We tried. Don't fit.
So next steps for this committee, we're going to get the project manager on board. The bond sale will happen at the end of April. Design process will begin as soon as that sale occurs, and then construction starts for Cushing, and we'll hit the ground running. So the next plan for this meeting will be on April 24th at 2 p.m. We'll have both virtual and in-person options, and that QR code will take you to, let me pull it up real fast. It's actually the website, thanks to communication. They put this website very quickly together. Share. So this is a website that has all things Parks Bonds. We'll also be posting these meetings on here, as well as links to our Parks and Rec Commission meetings. People can sign up for each project to get updates. All projects are also on Englewood Engage, so you can find out everything. We're including survey links and past surveys that we've done and information, the schematics on there, so people can see where we're at with their parks. The goal of this committee for us is to ensure that we are obviously staying on track and doing what we said we want to do. However, we want to hear from you too. If you have questions or have ideas, things we're not thinking about, we'd love for you just to bring them up. As the project moves forward, it may not be you sitting at this table, but you may send a representative that would be more in tune with, like, now we're in construction, who should be at the table. So this committee may change a little bit as we go through the next 3 years. It seems like a long time, but I have a feeling it will fly by quickly. And so, yeah, like I said, this is just a committee to ensure we stay on track and not forget anything. And if you hear things from the community, you can always reach out to us too to get answers for that. Brad, Adrian, Chris, Sarah, do you have anything you guys want to add?
No.
Take that as a no. All right. Any questions from this group?
Do we have a marketing plan, like what signage to put out? I mean,
Yeah.
Sean and I are both on the city council email list, and
Okay.
so we get everybody's emailed complaints to city council. And so I would like to avoid those types of emails by letting people know when we're spending their park bond money. So I'm assuming that's part of our marketing plan for this, but I wanted to make sure.
It is.
Okay.
And that's also why we have a lot of our communications team. We have 2 online.
That's
and
what
2
I
in person, and
suspected, but
2 out of country, but.
I don't know, the
Yeah.
first time somebody comes to city council and says, you didn't even spend any of this money like you said you would, I want other people there that say, no, I even saw the sign.
We are going to keep track. I mean, we're already keeping track of yard sign usage from last year. We'll be using those also for signage. Yeah, we want to do like your tax dollars at work kind of signs as the projects are kicking off. A lot of social media campaigns will be going on to notify of public meetings and things going on. So yeah, if you see anything, please forward it to us. If we're missing something or somebody has an idea of a way to share this information, definitely we want to.
And our community signs in the parks, the cabinet signs,
Yeah.
like Cushing, we'll dedicate that space for that project, things like that.
And will we be able to post, I'm just anticipating somebody will complain about something, and I'd like to avoid that. Will we post when we're going to close a park?
Yeah.
So
We want to be very transparent on that. We're very cognizant when we have to shut a park down. We've had Bates Logan closed for almost 3 years now. I mean, it was kind of semi-open for some of those, but the residents are getting antsy at this point. And so, yeah, signage is going to be important of when the park's closing or when the facility's closing, and in anticipation of when it may open too. That's always hard, as we've experienced with like Bates Logan. We've had delays on a few things. We hope to be open in May. Now it's early June, which is still on track. So those are great suggestions. Yeah.
We still working on the dashboard, GIS?
Yeah, oh, that's another good one. So, and
It's
part of
up, we just have to tweak
link
it a
it,
little bit.
yeah. So that'll help us track, and that's something that project manager will help of like where each project is in the process. And then also how the money is being spent too. So it'll show, you know, maybe one of those like temperature things. We're at 10% right now. Now we're at 50, now we're at 100. So, yeah, that's also good.
While we're talking about communication, you may or may not know that we've had a drone up a lot and we shot all of these parks from the air. So if you ever need that footage, let us know. We're gonna move it on to Asset Bank at some point so you can just access it whenever you need to, but I mean, that is available.
Communications also had a good idea of doing like a shot, like maybe of Cushing Playground, and then when you, where you swipe it and it shows the old and now the new. The dog park could do that too. And so beyond just the drone shots, the hope is we'll do those after the renovations are complete and the parks are back open. And so you can see the before and after, since many of these parks, like their playgrounds are very old, and once we replace, it'll be nice, so.
So the program has what looks like some buildings, structural elements. So my question is, when the time comes with relationships with general contractors, people who are building those improvements, will that be the liaison to that activity? Will that be the project manager? Will that be through facilities, or how's that going to work?
That's gonna be the project managers, our
Okay.
goal.
Okay. So when the time comes, we'd obviously like to set up some time for that person to get to know our building folks and just
Perfect,
start that relationship off on
Yeah.
really in a good note.
that sounds good.
Yeah.
We'll do that.
And communications team as well, for that matter.
Yeah, definitely. Okay. And I know you had mentioned there might be a contractor that we might bring in, or somebody we might bring in that could have some issues or overlap with the park renovations.
Yeah, we just want to stay in constant communication with anything Public Works is doing to stay out of the way, basically.
Well, and likewise too. Yeah. Anyone online have any questions or comments? Okay.
No, just keep us informed of any changes when you get the GIS links. Just make sure you send everything over to us for getting everything linked on the page.
You got it. Thank you.
We just got 90% drawings during this meeting at
Perfect.
Emerson. So Emerson is past Rotella.
They knew we were talking about them.
Yes.
Yeah, this has been moving. It's been an ongoing process for, well, over 3 years now, but last year we really hit hard trying to get some designs, and thank you to Trudy who pushed us to start moving on it so we'd be ready to go right off the bat. We weren't sure if we could even do that, and she was able to confirm we could, which just kind of gets us ahead of the game because we know some of these projects are going to be a very heavy, long lift because of the facilities and the amount of work that has to be done. But overall, I look forward to year 4 sitting here saying we're done, and let's go for a tour. Want to go down a slide? Yeah, but thank you. We do plan to keep these just an hour. It might get a little more intense as we get into construction and other things, but this was just an overview. So I will get the email sent out, or invite sent out for April 24th. We'll do them at 2. Like I said, they're virtual too. If you can't come and you know somebody else in your department could join us, please send them just to keep everything moving along.
Selfish question is for Tello, are we good with the flow rate and all that now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
We haven't seen any updated plans from Super Bloom, but we meet with them early next week.
Okay.
For their update.
Yeah, just let me know how Public Works can help.
Will do.
Much better now.
It's amazing what 300 TFS will do.
Yes, it is.
Or not do, maybe.
Awesome. Well, thank you. You get some time back on your schedule, but we'll see you later this month, next month. It's almost April. Yeah.
Great presentation.
Oh, thank you.
Thanks, yeah.
Thank you, Jenna.